After the government could no longer ignore the exodus of multinationals from Nigeria the past few months, Tinubu is now begging them not to leave Nigeria. A responsible government will always address issues whenever they come up, no matter how minute they are. That's the responsibility of government, especially when it involves loss of jobs. But when the first company left, they didn't say anything. They didn't try to reassure others on time to try and persuade them or solve their immediate problems. Now that they have seen that the multinationals are living en masse, they've suddenly woken up to their responsibility. Is it late? Well, we will come back to that in a moment. Tinubu, while begging multinationals, said, quote, "We are very focused on resolving all investment-related issues. There is no bottleneck that is too difficult for us to remove in our determined march towards making Nigeria the African haven for large-scale investment in all key sectors." Unquote. This is coming after some of his people said the reason these multinationals are leaving is because they couldn't compete. But going by Tinubu's statement, he talked about bottleneck, he never mentioned competition, and that bottleneck means government policy. Although government policy failings didn't start today, the past few months alone have seen a series of serious policy somersaults that are harmful to the economy. The only entity that is gaining from the float of the naira is the Nigerian government. They can't generate enough revenue to fund the national budget, so they resort to devaluation of the naira to increase revenue. The government earns revenue from customs duty, and the duty is calculated in dollars. If naira falls from about 500 naira to $1 to about 1,000 naira to $1, the revenue from customs effectively doubles. That's why they increased the customs dollar exchange rate to about 900 and something naira to $1. That's official rate. This singular move nearly doubles the amount of duty payable for imported goods, which will definitely lead to increase in the cost of goods. Do they expect the merchant to eat the additional cost? No, he will simply pass it to the consumer. Besides, the merchant might have borrowed money from a bank to finance the import. So you will understand that the constant increase in taxes and devaluation of the naira is the main cause of inflation. The customs and cargo handlers at the seaport render the same service. It's not as if the cost of their service increased out of the blue. The ports wasn't expanded to say that trucks have to move containers to a longer distance. For that reason, they have to cover the cost. No, they just woke up one day and increased the duty payable on imported goods. Yes, that's what they did by devaluing the naira. And immediately they did that, naira fell at the official market to about 1,100 naira. This means the official rate will never go below 1,000 or below the customs rate at least. So you can see, to a greater extent, the government contributes to inflation more than anyone else, when they are supposed to use policies to fight and bring down inflation. They think that by devaluing the naira, that it will force people to stop importation and start manufacturing in Nigeria. This is akin to putting the cart before the horse, because creating an enabling environment for manufacturers should come first before currency devaluation. Currency devaluation is done to encourage export. You don't devalue your currency when you are a net importer. It will harm your economy, and if you don't export finished goods, you can't devalue your currency, because you can control the price of finished goods, but you can't control the price of raw materials except you are a major buyer yourself. And to show that the devaluation of the naira is not working, this is why multinationals are leaving en masse. While the decision of the multinationals to pull out from Nigerian market can be traced to their different board of directors, and it's not something they can just wake up one day and decide. They must have observed a pattern. What it means is that the pattern didn't start today, but nevertheless, it is Tinubu that seriously accelerated their decision to leave Nigeria. Yes, he caused it by floating the naira. In other words, if GSK, Sanofi, Equinor, P&G, and all the companies that have left already decided to leave Nigeria maybe 6 months ago, they might have said, "We'll be watching out for exchange rate stability. If it stabilizes for so period of time, we will just scale down our operations or continue operating normally like before." But having seen that the exchange rate can reach 2,000 naira to $1 in the near future, they decided to quickly cut their losses and call it a day. By the way, Unilever scaled down their production. They stopped making some home care products in Nigeria. These products will now be imported going forward. As reported by Vanguard newspapers, within a few months, multinational companies have pulled assets worth 310 billion naira from Nigeria. One of the multinational companies, is it GSK? No, it's P&G. They say that out of $85 billion they make as annual revenue worldwide, Nigeria contributes a paltry $50 million. This revenue will continue to decrease because the naira is on a free fall. Multinationals make sales in naira and they must repatriate their profits. So if their annual revenue in Nigeria stands at about 50 billion naira, rough conversion at 1,000 naira rate is $50 million. The more naira loses value, the more the $50 million decreases. Yes, they can increase the price of their products to make sure that they always repatriate $50 million. But there's a limit one can increase the price of goods, especially when purchasing power is very low. It will simply mean low sales. So price increase is not a guarantee that the products will be sold. It might just drive people away. Right now, most people are preoccupied with food expenditure, groceries. So naira devaluation is a chain reaction that leads to price inflation, which ultimately leads to low sales because these products are no longer affordable to the average man. In fact, naira devaluation impoverishes Nigerians because every day their little savings continue to lose value. If you were planning to buy an imported used car from America, at the time you started saving for it, the car was being sold for 5 million naira. But before you can save 5 million naira, the cost of the car has become 8 million naira. Mind you, the same car is still being sold at the same price in the US. In some cases, the price is even lower because it is a used car. It will continue to lose value as it ages. But you will never enjoy that loss in value in Nigeria because the naira has become worthless. Many people are selling Nigerian used cars today at more than the amount they bought it a few years ago. Just like Buhari thought he could print limitless naira to finance the budget, Tinubu thinks he can devalue naira to fund the budget without the market reacting to the effects. More companies will leave because it doesn't make sense operating in a country where you can't repatriate your profits. Nigerian-owned companies are folding up, not to talk of multinationals. This year alone, DSTV has increased the cost of their services 2 times. They will reach a certain price point and they will start losing subscribers because they can no longer afford to pay their monthly subscription. You can't really blame them that much because they pay for their content in dollars. Even Nollywood producers that they license their movies from, they pay them in dollars, not to talk of English Premiership TV rights and many others. So after making the sales in Nigeria, they have to convert naira to dollars in order to repatriate their profits and renew licenses or pay for new content. Coming back to whether it is late to beg multinationals not to leave Nigeria, yes, it is very late. The job of a government is to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. If they do that, investors will come flooding Nigeria. Think of it like someone who runs a business, something like a restaurant. If the place is not clean, it's smelly, and the food doesn't taste good, people won't come. If someone mistakenly comes because he's hungry, he might turn around and leave immediately, or he might just manage and won't come back again. This is common sense. Economic reality doesn't rely on sentiments. You can't wish your way into a good economy. Prayer won't do much for you. You have to work for it, and the government must implement the right policies. If not, nobody will come. The few ones that are here will continue living. And it is obvious that he's not interested in doing the right thing that will make Nigeria an investment destination. That's the unfortunate reality, although it's not a surprise to many people who know him very well. Someone that came through the back door will not have any good intention that will improve the collective or national interest. It's all about him and his interests and his colleagues. Even the way he talks to potential investors, like he did recently in Germany, it was all about him.
And from there, I've governed Lagos for 8 consecutive years. And today, I can brag, beat my chest, that Lagos is on the horizon. It is the 5th largest economy in Africa, from zero.
It's still not late to reverse course, especially the subsidy removal. It is hitting the economy very hard. Many people voluntarily resigned from their jobs because they were working to pay for the high cost of transportation alone. Now, coupled with multinationals that are leaving Nigeria, throwing more people into unemployment, even the savings they said they made from the subsidy removal, Nigerians haven't seen anywhere they channeled them. Instead, they've seen massively overinflated contracts to reconstruct presidential palaces that should not be the priority now. Who chases a rat when his house is on fire? That's to show you their priorities. Companies at home are leaving and they are busy moving around looking for new ones. Who are they deceiving? You can't hold and manage the ones you have. It is new ones you want. So it's clear that whatever savings they are making from subsidy removal is for the politicians to squander, while the economy requires specific investments to improve the business climate. All the money they steal and throw around, going to unnecessary conventions abroad with thousands of delegates, could have been used to create an alternative energy source like CNG. Increase the penetration of CNG by making sure it is available everywhere so that transport costs will come down. For the economy to boom, transportation must be very affordable. Right now, it costs 500,000 naira from Lagos to Enugu by air, to and fro. That's equivalent to traveling between many cities in different countries in Europe. The same type of airplane, the same type of aviation fuel they use. Why is that of Nigeria so expensive, even when compared to equivalent flights in Africa? No one has a solution. People in government don't care because they have the presidential fleet at their disposal. To them, Nigerian people can trek hundreds of kilometers to their destination. You can't eat your cake and have it. You can't devalue the naira and expect multinationals to eat the cost that comes with devaluation. They rather go elsewhere, and the world doesn't start and end in Nigeria. Thanks for watching.